Hello, my name is Michael Wood, and this is my speech for the Washington 2022 Speech Tournament. The last person anyone had expected or wished to see, the Queen of Underland, stood dead still in the doorway. Her eyes swept across the room as she took in the entire scene. The three strangers, the silver chair destroyed, and the prince free with the sword in his hand. For a moment, her eyes lit on the prince, and there was murder in them. Then she seemed to change her mind. Has your nightly fit not yet come upon you? Or is it over so soon? Why stand you here unbound? Who are these aliens? And is it they who have destroyed the chair of which was your only safety? The prince shivered as she spoke, and no wonder, for it is not easy to throw off in a couple minutes an enchantment which has held one bound for nearly 10 years. Then he said, Madame, there will be no more need of that chair. And you, who have told me hundreds of times how deeply you have pitied me for the sorceries of which I was bound, will gladly hear with great joy that they are now ended forever. I am now in my right mind. I am the king's son of Narnia, Rillian, and it is my duty to depart suddenly from your presence. Jill Pole, Eustace Scrubb, and Puddleglum, a Marshwiggle, set on a quest to find Prince Rillian, who has been missing for 10 years. They found him and freed him from the enchantments of which he was bound, but they are not safe yet. The witch Queen of Underland does not like to lose her pets. This is The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis. The witch took a handful of green powder and threw it across the fire. Throughout the conversation which follows, this powder creates a sweet and drowsy smell, which makes it harder for one to breathe and one to think. Narnia? I have often heard that word in your lordship's ravings. My prince, you are very sick. There is no land called Narnia. Yes, there is though, ma'am, said Puddleglum. I have happened to live there all my life. Indeed. Tell me, pray, where is this Narnia you speak of? Up there. I don't know exactly where. You mean to tell me that there is a land between the stones and mortar of the roof? No, it's in Overworld. Indeed. Where is this, what do you call it, Overworld? Oh, don't be so silly, said Scrub, as if you wouldn't know. It's where you can see the sun and the sky and the stars. Why, we met you there. You were there too. I have no memory of that meeting, but we often meet our friends in strange places when we dream. We've been that too, cried Jill. And you are Queen of Narnia, I doubt not, pretty one. I'm nothing of the sort. We come from another world. Why, this is an even prettier game than the last. Tell me, what ships and chariots go between it and ours? At this moment, Jill hadn't realized that she had become enchanted, for the anger had left her, and she found herself saying, No, I suppose that other world must all be a dream. Yes, it is all a dream. There is no world but mine. There is no world but yours, said the prince and the children, but Puddleglum was still fighting hard. I don't know rightly what you mean by a world, but you can't make me forget Narnia, where the sky full of stars and the sun rises over in the morning sky and sets in the evening behind the mountains. Puddleglum's words had a very rousing effect on the children and the prince, and they found themselves looking at each other with newly awakened eyes. But then came the queen's words, cooing softly. What is this sun you speak of? Do you mean anything by the word? Could you describe it for me? Please it, your grace. You see that lamp, how it is round and yellow, and giveth light to the whole overworld? Well, no, not the overworld, the room. Well, just like this room, that lamp giveth light. No, the sun giveth light to the whole overworld, and it hangeth from the sky. Hangeth from what? You see, you are very sick. When you try to describe what this sun is to me, you cannot. You can only say it is like the lamp. The lamp is the real thing. There is no sun. It is a tale, a children's story. Jill said in a heavy, hopeless tone, "Yes, I see now. There is no sun. There is no sun." The prince and the children said, "There is no sun," with their heads hung down, their cheeks flushed, and their eyes half closed, the strength gone from them. But Puddleglum did a very brave thing. With the last of his strength, he walked over to the fire, and he stamped it out with his foot. And three things happened at once. First, the sweet smell grew much less, and the rest of the fire, though not the whole thing had been put out, smelled like burnt marshwiggle, which is not at all an enchanting smell. Secondly, the witch cried out in a voice far different from her other, "What dare touch my fire again, my filth, and I will turn the blood into fire inside of your veins." Thirdly, the pain itself made Puddleglum's head far clearer, and he said, "Perhaps all that we have said, the sun, the moon, and the stars, is a dream. Even Narnia itself is all pretend. Well, all that I can say to this is that the pretend things seem a good deal more important than your real things. Now, if my friends are ready, we are going to set off through your dark and dreary waste to find Narnia, even if it takes the rest of our lives. Not that they will be very long, but that is a small price to pay if the world is as a dreary place as you say." "Oh, hurrah! Good old Puddleglum," said the children. But the prince said, "Where? Look, to the witch!" And when they did, their hair stood nearly on end. Her arms appeared to be fastened to her sides, her legs intertwined with each other, and the long green train of her skirt became one thick, writhing mass. This all took a second to complete, and the transformation was finished. She had become a huge serpent and flung coils around the prince, seeking to choke the air out of him. But he grabbed her with his left hand, and with his right drew his sword, and he hacked off her head with repeated blows along with Scrub and Puddleglum. When he did so, and when they had all caught their breath, he said, "Thank you, gentlemen. It would have not suited me well, both in my honor nor in my heart, to have slain a woman. But I am glad that that witch took her serpent form in her last. Now come, let us each refresh ourselves and pledge our fellows." "A jolly good idea, sir," said Scrub. Thank you for listening.